Welcome to the Instructor Presence presentation. So what does it mean to be present in an online course? Do you think it matters at all to the students whether you're visible or not? Evidently it does matter, or you wouldn't be listening to this unit to find out how to improve your own instructor presence in your online classes. The importance of this presence is discussed in the literature, and some additional readings are provided for you so that you don't have to take my word for it. So, I will proceed with the understanding that you also know it's important to make your presence known often and in various ways throughout the duration of your online course. Instructor presence has three components. The first is your personal self shared with your students. This might make some people uncomfortable, and I am in no way suggesting that you do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. What this means is not being afraid of being yourself, sharing parts of your life, your wisdom, your stories, etc. Another component is being an instructor and having instructional presence. This means that you don't just depend on readings to teach your students or very boring PowerPoints. This means writing some personal notes on the lessons that you're teaching and sharing your own personal instruction throughout the course. Instructional presence also includes responsiveness. Students often comment about the unresponsiveness of some faculty members who teach online. That is not acceptable. In your syllabus, you need to tell your students when to expect a response from you if they have a question, but you should also think about how you want them to ask questions. I suggest having a discussion forum strictly for questions that you subscribe to so that you get emails when posts are made there. If you don't subscribe, you should monitor this forum daily. While students do tend to think that you're online 24 hours a day and do tend to have unreasonable expectations that you will respond at 2 a.m. to a question that they posted at 1:45 a.m., they should reasonably expect a 24-hour response time or sooner on a weekday. Whatever you decide to tell them, you need to stand by it and be responsive. The final part is the social aspect of presence and how it creates a culture of community that's always unique to each course. This means interacting socially with your students, perhaps on Facebook, on a class page that you create, or through Twitter or other means of social networking. What you do with them socially, which can mix with instructional if you're on the discussion boards with them, makes a huge impact on your students and the climate of your course, which, by the way, also affects student retention. This slide shows you some quick tidbits, just sort of a reflection on the previous slide, some ideas that you could use in your course. Being present actually starts before your course goes live. Indeed, it can start with a well-crafted welcome announcement. Be sure that you have one and that it is not only a "here's how you get started" kind of message, but it also has some warm fuzzy built into it so your students have an initial feeling of welcome from you. Now, if this is old hat to you, consider using a YouTube video and recording yourself saying your welcome announcement, but make sure to include a written transcript or use the closed captioning on YouTube. Be sure that you have an introductions forum and that you also introduce yourself right within it, right along with the students. I have seen so many online classes that offer students a myriad of weekly reading assignments coupled with a few websites to explore, maybe a video to watch, then an assignment to complete. So I ask, what are you teaching them? It's almost as if the idea is foreign to faculty members. There's room in your course for you to teach your students, and teach you should. There are a variety of ways to accomplish this. One is to write weekly notes, lectures, wisdom bits, whatever you would like to call them. I suggest keeping them at about 2 pages or so and break up your text into smaller paragraphs with space in between and add pictures if you want as well. This is your time to share your voice just like you would standing in front of them in your classroom. Type like you talk. Don't be afraid to be conversational. Another way is to record some audio explanations. There are many tools out there you can use like SoundCloud.com, Audacity, Gillisoft, Voki, and others. You can use screencasts too. My personal favorite is Screencast-O-Matic. I have the Pro version, which is really cheap for what it allows me to do, so I highly recommend it. I just spoke about Screencast-O-Matic. It even allows you to add a webcam clip in the bottom of your screen, so you'll be recording your screen, your voice, and yourself. It's literally as simple as clicking a button to turn on your webcam. How wonderful would that be for your students? Fear not the video, my faculty members. If you work for an institution with an instructional media center, you can even get really fancy with instructional videos. Other software programs that help you have that audio-video presence are Adobe Captivate, Adobe Presenter, Snap, Jing, and Camtasia, to name a couple. Besides your instructional presence, you need to be a voice in your students' discussions. Many faculty members scoff at this and are adamant that students' discussions are for students only. I am here to tell you that students do want to hear you and know that you're there. How else will they know if you don't share your voice? You don't have to be on there constantly, just once in a while. You can even type generic messages to infuse in discussions and reuse them again and again if you want, or take the time and have authentic posts, or have a mix of the two. One method I've used in the past is open the discussions and a Word window at the same time. I'm going to give you an example of that on the next slide. So, what I do is I have discussions open on one side and I show the whole conversation so all of the posts are open, and then I have Microsoft Word on the other. Then, as I'm reading the posts on the left-hand side, I will respond to some of them on the Word file on the right. I also include the students' names and I highlight them or make them in bold. So once I'm done, on the left-hand side I mark all of those posts as read. Then I make my own posts based upon what I wrote on the Word document. Sometimes I have 2 or 3 comments in one post to different students with their names highlighted, and I always try to have a catchy subject line. This way they want to read because they want to see their names. It does take time to do all of these things, but it is worth it. And the research supports the fact that students want to hear from their instructors other than at grade time. Think about ways that you can increase your presence and come up with a plan to make it happen. Good luck!